Alright, what's up? Let's see what's going on. Alright. Alright. Do you guys get the notifications? YouTube been acting weird. Hold up, man. What's up, who's next? What's up, Silverback? Lieutenant James Thomas, what's up? Alright, I'm gonna let the room fill up a little bit. I'm just gonna retweet this out, let people know that the stream is live. Just a little bit of conversation, just so I could give you guys my view on this. But more importantly, because I think everybody talked about Xbox Series X, Series S, and Series X to death. But here's just my view on what I think Sony should do. All right, and how this whole situation plays out. But before I get into it, Saint Fox, Puerto Rock, we love you, brother. You're the man. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. A lot of people in the DMs, when they're on my channel, they enjoy the content I provide because I keep it real on my channel. Or I don't want to say real. I keep it more not as crazy like I am on Z's channel. Z's channel, I just be bugging the hell out. That's because there's too many Xbox that are delusional on that channel, so it ain't even worth it to go crazy. They're good people though. They're my boys. Here, I keep it real. I keep it honest. Try to keep the conversation logical, so that way you guys can understand it, rock with it. You know what I'm saying? And then you could follow on and continue the conversations wherever you guys have. Who's up in here? We got Silverback, of course. Who's next? Lieutenant James Thomas. Jamie Mateo, what's up? Iron Fist was good. Definitely 100. Saint Fox. One Stop for Sports. What's up? Kai Godson. PS5 450 will be a good move. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. We're going to definitely talk about that. We're going to talk about my opinions. We're going to talk about a lot of things. We're going to talk about, in particular, to the conversation, because just like normal, a lot of people don't have the full concept of the conversation, because at the end of the day, everybody tries to create or they try to have views, but with the perspective of obtaining a certain result. Yeah, how can I put it? It's like me making up stuff, or me just saying things about the New York Knicks because ultimately I want them to win a championship. But instead of being real and honest about how teams win in basketball, I completely avoid all those things and just say the things I want to say that results in the Knicks winning the championship, even though they don't end up winning. Does that make sense? Like, I make my points because ultimately I want to tell the audience this is what's going to happen, instead of using reality, using facts, using history on what it takes for that event to happen, right? So instead of me talking about the Knicks in the perspective of, how the Bulls win championships, how the Lakers win championships, how teams win championships, right? And try to correlate that on how the Knicks, an organization, needs to posture themselves to be like that. I make up something totally different and ignore decades of how basketball teams win championships. Does that make sense? Straw man argument? Kind of. I know one term, maybe it's not the perfect term, confirmation bias. Like, you're arguing from something you already believe in, even if it's not factual, but because you believe in it, you're going to argue it because that's what you want to be right. So it's not on the merit if the information is right. It's just, this is what I want to be right. Therefore, I'm going to argue as if it is right. Does that make sense? And that's what goes on. That's what goes on a lot in this community, which I don't understand why. You could be honest and have a conversation and just be real, but that doesn't mean, especially when it comes to consumer, you don't like the product or you don't play with it. But you could just be, reality and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So what else we got? And I'm gonna explain more as we get this, as we get this rolling, and as I get deep dive into this topic, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. So, but in the meantime, if you could do me a solid, hit the like button, retweet this out, hit up everybody, so we could get this going and stuff. It's Thursday, one more work day. So a friend of mine hooked me up with Ace Combat Legends. Ace Combat, this guy's unknown, right? He just loaned me this, right? And he wants me to play it because he knows I love VR, and he's big into VR. And he says you need to play this game, but only the VR mission. He goes, the rest of the game, he said, after you play the game in VR, the rest of the game sucks. It's just not even worth it because VR took it to another level, right? So I said, you know what, screw it. And then also Sony has that deal, not that deal, but I guess a special sales on all VR games. So like Iron Man's like $25 or something, or 50% off or some crazy thing like that. So I'm definitely gonna hop on and look at some of these VR deals. And for those of you who didn't get Iron Man and have VR, probably a good time to buy it now. But pretty much almost a whole entire library of VR games, like $7 or whatever. So I'm gonna check some of those games out, whatever. What else we got here? So who else is up in here? We got Boycott Activision. He said PS4 Pro 4.2 over Xbox Series X 3.9. Heaven Crasher, what up? Rome Rush, my boy, was good. Truth Hurts was good. Como 888 what's popping. So we're gonna talk about this in a few. Let's see, what's this? I know the big hot topic right now is now all of a sudden after 24 hours or whatever hours of Xbox Series S been revealed, a lot of or not a lot, but some developers are speaking their minds about it. Can't do VR, I ain't trying to pass out. It's not bad. You might, but I wouldn't take it as everybody. It's if you easily get nauseous and stuff like that, I don't know. Maybe I'll be honest. There was only one game that actually made me feel queasy, and that's Blood and Truth. And I think it's because I took off all the comfort settings. But I think that's going to be a short problem because over time with technology, you get better refresh rates, better frame rates, better graphics, and that comes over time. So I think the PS5 is going to resolve a lot of that issues. With that brute force power, you're going to see a lot of issues PSVR had. I don't want to say issues, but the weakness, some of the weakness behind PSVR is going to be resolved with PS5. But the great part is developers already have practice, got games out there. You know what I mean? So it's not going to be brand new to them. They're just going to continue on, and the games we just get better and better. Okay, so we got this going. We got this popping. I know everybody's here. Hit that like button, please, and let me start this off. Ooh, one more thing. I'm sorry. Where we at? Hit the like button. Nah, I'm just kidding. Hold up. Let me do this one last time. And boom. Alright, here we go. Alright, let's go. Alright, Mayin Rodriguez was good. G-Tech, Heath Stevens. Alright, so let's back it up a little bit. Alright, we all know Microsoft made an announcement. They officially revealed the Xbox Series S. They've officially revealed the pricing of both platforms. $299 for the Series S, $499 for the Series X, and November 10th launch, and pre-orders soon, right? In September sometime, this month sometime. Pretty simple, right? Let's talk about the Series S real quick, right? I'm going to say the good parts and the obvious part. The part that people ain't really seeing or they're doing too much. For $299, the Series S, I think it's a good price, and I think it's a good product for a specific consumer, right? So who's that specific consumer? I think primarily majority of the people who enjoy Xbox. You have a lot of people who enjoy Xbox, regardless. It doesn't really matter what complaints we had personally, right? Because despite no compelling exclusive party, all the games going on PC, Microsoft first party been creating trash or at best mediocre games, right? The complete focus of Game Pass, right, and Game Pass fodder, or things like that. Regardless of all the complaints a lot of gamers have, you still have lots of gamers that enjoy Xbox for what it is and not necessarily for what other people want it to be. Does that make sense? That's just it is, right? They like it, and that's what they like, right? And nothing wrong with that, because do what you want with your money. If you like it, then it is. You ain't got to convince anybody on what you like or not, right? So that group, Xbox Series S, is definitely a great product for them, because they don't have to invest. They don't have to invest a lot of money up front. They can upgrade, especially, let's be honest, majority of Xbox gamers are playing on the Xbox One S. Majority do not have the One X. It was not that big of a seller. I said that a long time ago. Xbox One X is not going to change anything this gen, and more gamers who choose to buy Xbox will choose the One S over the One X, right? So it's an easy upgrade to go from the One S to the XS or Series S. Worst naming convention ever. It's an easy upgrade to go to the Series S, right? Without investing a whole lot of money, right? They'll get a new console, and they'll continue to play the games. They'll ignore all the issues of Xbox because they don't really care about the issues. They like Xbox for whatever reason. It could be because they have a huge backlog of games. They're just used to the UI. They prefer Xbox Live. They don't really care about exclusives. They just prefer to play on Xbox for whatever their own reasons are. And whether we understand or not, because most of us, it's about the games. The games is what makes us attractive to the console. It may not be that for them. It is what it is. There's nothing wrong with that, right? It's a consumer product. You buy what you want, right? So they buy the Series S. Perfect console to transition from the One S to the Series S, right? Perfect. The next group of gamer might be those who play on a different platform, maybe like PlayStation 5 or PlayStation or the Switch, right? Not so much PC gamers. I'll tell you why this won't be good for PC gamers. Or maybe, depending, right? But for the most part, if you're a Nintendo gamer or PlayStation gamer, this console might be good for you because you may not like Xbox that much. But at $299, all right, you could bite and play some of the games that won't be on the Switch or won't be on the PlayStation, and you're not investing that much into the ecosystem, right? You're not investing all that, right? You could pay $299, and then when Microsoft releases one of their first-party games or a couple of first-party games, you could subscribe to Game Pass for like $10, right? Unsubscribe, so you have it for 30 days, and then or you do a Game Pass Ultimate for $14. You subscribe to Game Pass Ultimate, but you make sure you cancel it so that way they don't reoccur in charge. You pay your $15 and you'll have access to the game plus online for that month. You play the games, knock out, beat a couple. After 30 days it expires, you're back on your PlayStation 5 or you're back on your Nintendo Switch, and your console will stay collecting dust until the next hit, and then you repeat the process. So all these games that would normally be $60 if you were to buy it, they're actually $15. You finesse the system. So you buy a $299 console, you play games here or there, not that big of a deal, right? And that's if you do it at launch. You technically don't even have to do it at launch. You could wait a year or 2 years, right? Especially if you're primarily gaming on the Switch, or you plan to game on the PS5, and that's what you primarily want to do, you could go a year. It's not like Microsoft's going to have their exclusives at launch. Hell, most likely the way it's looking, you probably won't see these games for 2 years. So you could ignore the Xbox Series S for 2 years, play your Switch, play your PlayStation 5, enjoy it, and then in 2022, 2023, the Series S could be, $250, $249. It could be $50 price drop. You buy it, pay $15 for Game Pass Ultimate, just play for 1 month, but throughout that month you'll catch up to like a couple of games, play it, and then you bought it just for the games you can't play on your primary console, and that's it. So that's not a bad deal either, right? Some people may not care about that because they already decided just to go PC and just ignore Xbox altogether. But you see what I'm saying? So those are generally a good major group. People who generally play on Xbox, and people who probably just want to do a cheap way to get games that's not on their preferred platform and not put too much of an investment. All right, that makes sense. And it does make sense. And that's not bad. The problem is, and this is where this whole confirmation bias I was telling you, out of the blue now, Xbox gamers are going, oh, because of this, it's a whole new generation. Xbox is going to start outselling PlayStation. And I just say to myself, like, man, these dudes like do the most. Like they just jump. They're like dogs chasing their own tails. They just spin around, and I wonder if they did catch their own tail, would they know what to do with it? Like these dudes just dive in to the pool. Like they don't even know if the pool was open. They just go through the game, run off the diving board, and just be like, yes, and then they look down, ain't no water. They just dive through. They just say the craziest shit. You know, not on the merit of, all right, let me break it down, because I got no explanation why they believe in this. They just say, oh, because it's $2.99. And I'm thinking, like, that's just not the only reason, right? People be like, but you did that too, Puerto Rock. I'm like, no. Don't use me as an example. Because I had logic behind my stuff. You guys are just randomly saying stuff, right? So they come out and say, oh, because it's $2.99. Okay, so it's just $2.99, and then that's it. Nothing else to talk about, right? And that's what they fundamentally don't understand. They don't. This is why I won bets over NPD and console sales, because they don't. You would think they would have learned, like 3 years ago. For a little backstory, because some of you weren't around in the chat. In fact, I'll retweet a video. So tune into my Twitter account, because I'll post that video after this podcast, so you can see, and it'll talk about the history of this bet, right? For those of you who weren't around in early 2017, mid 2017, right? I made a bet with Zaire and D-Batch, right? And the bet was revolved around Xbox One X when it was about to come out, right? Zaire, Next Gen 720, shout out to my boy, and D-Batch, they both felt that when the console launched in November 2017, it will beat PlayStation 4 in NPD sales, because it's new hardware, have better hardware, it will play the best version of the multiplats, and that's what, and everybody's gonna go out, or at least more people will go out to get that as compared to buying a PlayStation 4, to where it already had the PS4 Pro, but it wasn't all that graphically good to their opinion, and it's just it's the better version of the multiplats, and it's the latest hardware. Okay, and the bet was that actually was like even before July or June or whatever of 2017. He and I actually made that bet in December 2016 when Project Scorpio was announced. So me and him, and it was just me and him talking trash every month, right? D-Bash decided to, jump in all the Kool-Aid, right? He decided to be all up in the Kool-Aid, right? And not know the flavor, right? The first time he says, I'll bet you $20. And I'm like, me knowing D, I'm like, D, stop. I'm not betting you. Because, like Zaire, at least me and him, me and him didn't get the full information, so he had a fair shot. But by that point, when by July, rumors of it being $4.99 and all that stuff, I knew I won the bet. I already knew by that point I won the bet, right? So that's why I didn't want to bet D. I told D the first time, I'm not betting you, don't worry about it. I'm not here to take your money. A lot of people want to bet. I remember Tim Dog on Twitter wanted me a bet. I said no, because I knew at that point the bet was won. Z had a fair chance because it was like 6 months before that. I didn't have much information, so it was a fair chance. But by July, it was not a fair chance. Anybody I betted was actually be me stealing money from them. You understand what I'm saying? It was, so I'm not that type of dude. So I was like, I'm not that type of dude to pool shark. I'm not a pool shark, right? I don't go into pool holes, pretend I don't know how to play pool, and then when we bet, I smoke somebody, give me my money. I don't do that, right? So I knew, whatever. But then the following week, D-Batch came in, and then this time he was just talking shit at me, right? He was you scared, and I don't think he called me a pussy or anything like that. I don't think he went that far, right? But he just started talking trash, and I said, you know what? Since you have a lot of mouth, fine. I'm gonna take your $20 just so you can learn, so that way you can have a can of act right, so you can learn, right? I did it. So the bet was who was going to sell more in November 2017. Xbox or PlayStation. They're saying Xbox because of the Xbox One X. I said PlayStation 4, right? And November NPD came out and boom. PlayStation was the number one selling console, right? And I told these guys, right? It's 2017. The conversation of power is over. It's about the games, right? And I told them Sony already has Horizon Zero Dawn out on the streets, right? And they're selling these PlayStation 4s with Uncharted 4 packed in, and it's going to be $200. PlayStation 4 is known as the console with the games, all the banging games, right? And then in a couple of months, you're going to get God of War. All this stuff is out in the streets. I'm telling them. All this stuff is out in the streets. You already got Horizon Zero Dawn out on the streets. Pack, and then you're going to have that pack in with Uncharted 4 for $200. God of War's coming out next year, right? Everybody knows about Spider-Man. There's nothing that's interesting about One X other than power. It's a done rap. They didn't want to listen to me. November comes. They saw the sales. December comes. The results NPD. And PlayStation outsold it easily. And I won the bet, right? But what they're not understanding, right, is it was not just the cheap price of the PS4. It's known as a console with the best games. It was already that console. You understand what I'm saying? It was already there, you know? And then remember, 2016, Sony had that presentation showing Spider-Man, Days Gone, right? God of War. It had the hits. It had the big guns. You had the Dream Team. It's done. It's over. There's nothing Xbox could do to overpower that. And releasing another $500 console isn't the answer. It was always the games. You know what I'm saying? They didn't want to listen, right? And the same thing's happening again right now, right? It's happening right now as we talk. Intermission. We got 96 people viewing. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys coming and rocking out with me. If you don't mind, hit the like button. I would truly appreciate it. All right. So now you got a $299 Xbox Series X. And I already mentioned it's a great deal. It's a great console for those who already like Xbox, right? And majority of Xbox gamers are on the Xbox One S or even the original Xbox One. It's a really easy upgrade. They can actually buy a console at launch that they normally will not buy and they will wait years. They could easily upgrade to the Series S and enjoy it, right? And then the second group, like I told you, it could be a secondary platform without heavy investment into buying an Xbox console. They could wait. You can even wait 2 years until the games come out, and it'll probably be even cheaper by then, right? So it's cool. But the thought of this is going to be PlayStation 5 simply because it's $299, well, they didn't think this through. Number one, what games are you playing, right? Because now you're talking about, you know, not just being an Xbox One enthusiast or Xbox enthusiast or a person like Xbox. You're talking about a gamer, right, who's choosing between these two products, right? So they're going to look at their number one thing, the games, right? Multiplats like Destiny, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and all that stuff, Call of Duty, those don't sway one console or another unless there's something tied to it. For example, the 30-day, who gets the map pack, first 30 days, right? The Call of Duty deal. That's actually important to Call of Duty gamers because they don't want to wait a whole month for new multiplayer map packs that they play all the time. So that might be a factor. Xbox One, I don't think got the deal. I think Sony got the deal again, right? That's a factor. Factor number two. What are the exclusives? And ignore PC, right? Ignore PC. Let's ignore PC, all right? Because let's not convolute the count. Let's just talk strictly Xbox and PlayStation. The consumer is in the store. They're right there. They're in Best Buy. So obviously PC's not there with them. They're only going to play on one platform. That's it. They're not going to play on no other platform. They're not going to play on PC, Switch. It's going to be either Xbox or PlayStation. They walk in the store, they see on the shelf. Again, what do you see on the shelf for Xbox? Nothing. It's mostly multiplats, right? Sure, the games are coming. The game is coming. That's the rumor. But what games? How do they look like? How do they play? What's Microsoft's pedigree in releasing big, compelling games? This whole gen, Microsoft has not been good at releasing big blockbuster titles. I think I'll track that. One franchise they've been doing good is Forza Horizon, right? So if you're a racer guy, probably Forza Horizon is probably the one game that's attractive. But for the majority of everything else, it's been bland, right? But yet Sony's been pushing out Spider-Man, and you're gonna see a poster in Best Buy, in Target, wherever, of Miles Morales, and people know that's not gonna be the only Spider-Man. The actual sequel to Spider-Man with Peter Parker, that's coming too. How many gamers are waiting for the sequel to God of War? We already saw how Horizon Forbidden West looks like, right? How many people who love the Dark Souls games, Sekiro games, Bloodborne, now seeing Demon Souls? Many of you started your Dark Souls journey on the 360 with Dark Souls 1. Never got the opportunity to play Demon Souls because it was a PS3 exclusive at the time, right? Now here's your chance to play it, but a full remake, and the game looks gorgeous. You see what I'm saying? Gamers are going to see this on TV screens, right? They're not going to go in Best Buy or in a store or in Walmart and look at, well, I remember the day Xbox announced the price first, so because of that, I'm going to buy an Xbox. That's not going to sway a person's decision, because that all of that goes out the window once everybody knows the price of the consoles and everybody's in the store looking at the games, looking at the box art, looking at the displays and what's shown, right? On one end, you'll see an Xbox display of Valhalla, and on this end, you'll see Spider-Man. But you know Valhalla is there too. So you're like, well, if I buy that console, I still get Valhalla, and I'll get Spider-Man, right? The one thing that's cool about the Series S, that I really like about the Series S, it deaded the conversation of having to buy a console for the better version of the multiplats. That's what I truly love about the Series S. Because notice, every single Xbox gamer or Twitter guy or YouTube personality, right? They've been talking about the best version of games for months. Now they're not saying that no more. They're all talking about, oh, it's a great, decent machine to play. You get to play these games at this settings. It's great to enjoy. You get a great experience. So now 1440p low-end games, right? And they'll argue, right? If we're going to talk about next-gen versions, right? On consoles, the worst version of games is going to be the Series S. The best version of games will be the Series X. The middle ground, the all-around good version of games is going to be PlayStation 5. Because PlayStation 5, both their models is the same spec, right? So if you look at it from extremes, the worst is Series S. The best is Series X. PlayStation's in the middle. The all-around good count, right? The worst versions now is cool. So I love it. And I agree with it, right? Because at the end of the day, you don't really care if somebody out there is playing a better version than you. I personally never care about that, right? That's why I played the PlayStation 4. I didn't buy the Pro because I didn't think it was worth it. It don't bother me. I'm still enjoying the games, right? Same thing with PC. Hell, PC games, right? PC gamers. It's the platform that traditionally is known to be the most powerful platform with the best version of multiplats. Yet, majority of PC gamers, they don't actually buy the best VIGs, right? And the reason, and why? Why is that? Because they don't really care about having to actually get the very best version of games. As long as they're playing the version that they like and they enjoy, somebody can have a Titan. It doesn't matter to them. They'll stay on their 1060 and they're still enjoying the games. It's the same thing. Majority of PlayStation gamers are playing on the PS4 regular or slim. Majority of Xbox gamers are playing on the Xbox One S or Xbox One. No one, even within the community, even within the Xbox community, even within the PlayStation community, and even within the PC community, the majority of gamers are playing on weaker hardware. Because at the end of the day, we just want access to the games. What version some stranger or some random dude around the world is playing is irrelevant. It doesn't really matter. It's just whether or not you get the version that you want to play and are you enjoying it, and ultimately that's it. That's what I like about the Series S, right? The Series S does that. Now 1440p or 1080p now. I guess 1080p is cool again, right? 1080p makes you a better gamer. 1080p is even cool now. That's the best thing about the Series S, because there goes the whole argument about the best versions of multiplats. Died with Series S. So, thank you, Series S. I appreciate that, right? But the point is, the real thing, though, right? And this is what people got to look at. You got to look at it from a perspective of when a consumer walks into the store, right? When people are out there ready to buy the product. Digital Foundry is not with you. People don't be like, all right, let me look up Digital Foundry. Oh. Hold on. Let me zoom in 300 times. Yup. Terrible textures. Give me that Xbox. No one's doing that. And no one's doing that. I promise you, no one is doing that. No one's doing that at all. Okay? No one's got a magnifying glass and be like, all right, before I decide these consoles, let me look up at this Digital Foundry head-to-head. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh. Yeah? Oh. Ambient occlusion. Oh, the puddles are ray traced. I'm buying Spider-Man because the puddles are ray traced. Spider-Man it is. No one's doing that. No one's doing that, okay? What people naturally do is they look at the product and they want to see what that product does for them, right? And it all comes down to the displays and stuff like that. They're going to look in the store. They're going to be like, okay, here's the PlayStation console, right? And they're going to look at the game shelf. Everybody looks at the game shelf. Like, nobody looks at game shelves no more. Nobody does that. Like, at least on the Xbox side. Do you guys do that anymore? You look at games when you look at the console, right? And they're going to look at the two shelves, right? They might even look at the advertisements and the posters. There might even be displays of, oh, look at the PlayStation display. Man, that Spider-Man game looks nice and stuff like that. And then they'll be like, oh, man, that EC Valhalla game, that looks nice too. Yo, is that on Xbox? That Spider-Man? No. Valhalla, is that on PlayStation? Yeah. So if I buy a PlayStation, I could get that and that. But if I buy this, I can only get this? Oh, snap. I'm going to get this then. Because I could do this, I could do this anyway. You know, it's conversation like that people have, right? That's why I don't understand this big thing about multiplats. Sure, there might be a small demographic of hardcore gamers, right? But if you look at the big picture, majority of people play on the weaker consoles, right? And the majority of people want variety. People want to talk about, is that game there? Is that game there? What about that game? Can I get on this? No? Then I'm going to get this. Yo, what game you got? Oh, you got this one? Oh, yeah, I could get that on Xbox? No, I couldn't get that on PlayStation? So you think I should get a PlayStation? All right, man, I'm going to mess with that. I'm going to get a PlayStation. That's how the conversation goes, right? So it's not just strictly price, right? It's a combination of price plus the content that's available. I'll go back to PlayStation 2 era, right? The GameCube launched, if you guys remember, at $199 in 2001. It was actually the cheapest next generation console out of the big three, you know, GameCube, Xbox original, and the PlayStation 2. PlayStation 2 launched in 2000. By that time, you know, Dreamcast was already, and Dreamcast also launched at $199. So two consoles actually launched at $199, the cheapest price points. But by that point, Dreamcast was already dying. So the big three was PlayStation 2, OG Xbox, GameCube. GameCube was the cheapest. And I don't think I need to go over what happened. GameCube hardly sold out. It didn't have the content that people wanted, right? I didn't say the games were bad, because some games were really good on GameCube. But it wasn't what the majority wanted. The majority of people wanted the PlayStation 2, right? And it wasn't that much more expensive than the GameCube. I think by that point, it was only like $50 more or $100 more. People were willing to pay the extra money, just a little bit extra, for the content that they really, really want, you know? The $50 to $100 price difference didn't justify avoiding the games, especially when one of those games at the time was Grand Theft Auto 3, which was like the biggest game when it launched in 2001. Everybody wanted Grand Theft Auto 3. Everybody. They didn't give a damn what they had to do to get it. You see what I'm saying? Now, I like the GameCube. I bought it at launch. I remember when I bought it at Toys R Us in New York City, and it was raining that day, and I was standing outside in line, drenched. But I got it. Good console, right? And that's the thing people would understand. Yesterday, I was messing around with on Z's podcast. Is it yesterday? Yeah, I think it was yesterday, right? And of course, I'm talking my trash. But I did bring up a semi-serious point. Of course, I was joking and whatever, but it is a real point. And I pointed out, if I buy this $299 Series S, what games am I playing on it? It was a simple question. It's not really hard question, right? When you think about it. If I'm asking you, hey, I'm buying this console $299, what am I playing on it? Right? They had a heart attack just with that question. They're like, play what you want. I'm like, they couldn't just straight up play what you want, right? My boy Post-Up finally caved in and answered, and he named multiplats that not only I could play on PlayStation 5, but you could play on my PlayStation 4, and then he mentioned Gears 5. And I'm like, do you see now? You know, and the reason why I told him this, and I was hoping they will understand, you don't have any games that can really say people are going to choose Xbox Series S over PlayStation. You don't really have the games. Okay, you don't really have anything. You have the same games every single platform also has to play with. So that's not really a huge selling point, right? And they just didn't get it, right? But they're going to learn when they see this, right? And that's what I want to teach, right? So with that said, how does this lead into the PlayStation 5, right? And what Sony has to do to really balance this out. Because Sony can make a mistake. They can be stupid. There is possible, right? I don't think they are, but it is a possibility. And with that, when I lead into this next topic, a reminder again, please hit the like button. I would truly appreciate it. And don't forget to retweet this out. And, you know, I saw Salty in here. Shout out to Salty. Compost, what's going on today? What's up? Danny Stab. Thanks for rocking out. Moist and Delicious. G-Tech, what's good? J-Run, what's up? We got Arch Boss. Zombie, what's up? All Day Digital. My panel member, what's good, brother? What else we got up in here? Midday 354. Thank you so much. Capono 5150. Heath Stevens. Yeah, I shot you. All right. Gaming Despair. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys rocking out with me. And Truth Hurts, of course. You know, thank you so much for rocking out with me. I really appreciate it. You guys are the best. And we're gonna get to the second point. And I think this is the point everybody really wants to talk about, right? It's PlayStation 5. Obviously, Sony's very quiet. Okay. I have my opinions on why they're still quiet. So we'll talk about that first, okay? Why is Sony have not already revealed? If everybody thought, what's up, Joey Salas was good. Sportsman Dan, what's up? All right. Savage Jr. was good. If people believed this was a game of chicken, then Microsoft flinched first, right? And I don't think they intended to flinch first. I think that leak, I think Phil Spencer even said that it was supposed to be next week. So Phil Spencer probably wanted to hold out for one more week to see what Sony does. But it got leaked. And I think Microsoft made a good decision. The leak is out there. Might as well just take advantage of it and let it trend in social media, because it did trend pretty good in social media. Let it trend. It did. Microsoft did a good job getting this out there, getting to trend. A lot of positivity, a lot of momentum. You even have diehard PlayStation fans getting even more impatient. So they did a good job and especially over the PlayStation's 25th anniversary, they did a good job, right? So they did a good job getting attraction to this product, right? So clearly Sony saw this, right? Whatever pricing point Sony had in mind, it either did one thing. It either fell in line with what they thought they were going to do anyway and no plans change, or they have to go back and readdress something, right? Let's assume Sony wanted to launch these consoles, the PlayStation 5 Digital for $499 and the PlayStation 5 Disc Edition for $599. I'm just talking about a scenario, a possibility. If that was what Sony's planning, right, and they initially thought we're going to do that, maybe because it could break even, or hell, maybe because they could make money day one instead of the traditional lose money, right? Whatever. That plan went away, in my opinion, right? Sony now will not be doing that. They can't do that. They can't, all right? And I'm going to tell you why, all right? For one, the PlayStation Digital Edition being sold for $499 next to an Xbox Series X at $499 would be disastrous. Because like it or not, right, Xbox Series X is more powerful and it comes with a disc, right? And then the version that Xbox has without the disc is $299, which would make it $200 cheaper. That's not a good place for Sony to be in, right? And then the the version with the disc is $599. That's not good at all. No matter what. It's just not good. It would be PS3 all over again, because now you will not get no positivity throughout the market, right? No gaming mag will be positive about the PlayStation 5. Not even the, I don't want to say the crumb side, but the social media influencers, all of them will bash the PlayStation 5. There will be very little positivity hovering around the PlayStation 5. It's just the honest truth. A $499, $599 price point, very little positivity, and it will actually, I will say, it will actually kill the momentum of the great games Sony showed. At that point, people are going to be like, hey, I like Spider-Man, But that game is not $5.99. I don't care what you say. Same thing Horizon Zero Dawn. Best case scenario, a lot of diehard PlayStation fans will say, I'll just wait 3-4 years to get the console and I'll play it anyway. Which won't be good for the brand either, right? Because now you're talking up front, very little sales, which in turn make the console look even worse. Look at PS3. It would be PS3 all over again, right? So that will not have a good impact. It's just a reality, right? You can only go so far in price and use the games to justify the price. You can only go so far. There is a borderline. It's just there is that. We're not at the point where a $5.99 console, right, would be easily accepted. It's not going to happen, right? A $5.99 console will be accepted. And then if your cheapest model is $4.99, it's not gonna happen, right? It's just not gonna happen. People will lose interest in the games. Only the most hardcore will still accept it. But the average gamer, the average casual, even a PlayStation fan that's not hardcore PlayStation fan, but they still like PlayStation, even they will be whatever, right? The combination of the good pricing from Xbox Series brand and Nvidia released a $4.99 video card that's more powerful than the consoles, right? And if you're gonna drop $5.99, and that's just on the console. Now you're talking if you want the headset, another controller, the camera, and then the right TV to take advantage of the PlayStation 5. It's just not gonna work out. $5.99 is not the price point. Majority of the PlayStation fans, they will wait. They will not jump in at that price. They will wait a while. They'll still get the PS5, just like many PlayStation fans waited a while to get the PS3, and they eventually got it when it was $399, $350, $300. They did get it eventually, right? But that would mean PlayStation 5 will go to 2 to 3 years of just getting bashed, right? And what happens during those 2 to 3 years while the console is not selling a lot? Developers, they gotta do what they gotta do, right? So if the PlayStation 5 is not selling a lot, and even if the Xbox is selling decent or just as good, Sony won't have that pull with third party like they did with PlayStation 4. The reason why Sony was able to pull so much support from third party, right? And we all seen it. We all seen the, damn, this game's not coming to Xbox. Oh, damn, this is coming to Xbox next year. For example, Final Fantasy VII. It's not day one. It wasn't day one on Xbox and PS4 for a reason, right? Because the games sell better. Square Enix games sold better on PlayStation consoles. So Sony had that pull to whine, But like, hey, our console, your game's gonna sell better on our platform anyway, right? We're the highest selling console, right? So how about we also make a deal on top of that? And Square Enix was good because it's not like Xbox gamers buy a lot of our games anyway, so it's an easy deal. You can't have those deals if your console's not selling. You can't have that pull with third party if your console's not selling good. Your console selling good gives you that. That's your muscle man, right? You got that dude that's diesel like this, right? Like, what up? That's that dude. Like, that's Bra. And Bra is the dude that's selling all the consoles. It's the big console sales. That's your henchman. You ain't want no wimpy henchman, right? You need to win these NPDs. You need to win these, GFK charts. You need to see Sony saying, hey, in the first 3 months we already sold 10 million consoles. That is Bra. That's that big dude, right? And when you have that big dude, you could do what you want in the industry, right? But without that big dude, it gets harder because you don't have the pull, right? So that $4.99, $5.99, if Sony was planning that, it's gone. They're not doing that no more. It's over. It's off the table. So now what's on the table is they're talking about how far down they're gonna go, right? How far can they go, right? And when they talk about this, they're gonna look at how much a loss they're willing to accept, right? That's obviously in play. How will the pricing will enhance what they're advertising? Because bad pricing kills everything you did. You could show Miles Morales, you could show Horizon Zero Dawn. Hey, look at the haptic feedback. And then when you announce $5.99, no one's gonna care about any of that. No one's gonna care about Tempest or none of that. The price is too high. So they have to look where is the right price point that will enhance their message. Okay? And I think the final thing that was gonna really help determine the price is they got two screws, right? So as long as you buy one of those, which PS5, they're cool with. But I have a feeling they're gonna be more partial to the digital edition. I think that's gonna be the product they're really gonna push. You're really gonna see the digital edition as their number one version that they want you to buy. And the reason why is this: if you guys notice, Sony doesn't sell or doesn't allow the sale of digital game cards. You're not gonna find a digital game card of a game from Ubisoft, Activision, or even from themselves. Rumamba said, which PS5 you getting? I'm getting the disc edition because I have a lot of disc games that I still haven't played, and VR, a lot of my games in VR disc. So I'm gonna still get disc, and then you can still get, and I'm gonna tell you another reason why I'm going digital. I mean the disc edition. And I'll tell you right now. So Sony doesn't have digital cards no more for games. They only sell PSN money, right? $60 PSN cards. That's it. So if you want to buy a game digitally, right, and you don't want to use your credit card, you can't go out to a store and buy a digital card game and then input the code and get the game. You have to go just buy PSN money, go on your PSN, upload the money, then buy the game, right? If you go all digital, you only have access to one location to buy games, and that's the PlayStation Store. You have no other location, right? Because again, you can't get digital game codes from Amazon or Best Buy. Only one location. They completely control where you're going to play your games, right? That's it. It's a wrap. You locked yourself to one store and Sony owns it. If you get the physical edition, you have the best of both worlds. You can still get your games from the Sony store, from the PlayStation store. But if you look at Amazon or Best Buy and they have the physical edition for like 50% off, while they're still selling the digital edition on the PlayStation store for $60, then you can be like, I'm going to cop the physical. It's not multiplayer. I'm cool with that, and I'm gonna save myself $30. You have more options. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm going with the physical edition, right? So with that said, I think Sony is gonna make the all digital edition their preferred version that they're gonna advertise the most because they want you locked into their ecosystem. It's in their best interest to get you onto that platform, right? Because if you get the all digital edition, that means you're not buying physical games no more. It's all digital. The importance of that is, one, you're not borrowing games from your other friends, right? Okay? So your friend can be like, I bought this game. Here, you try it out. And then you try it out, you beat it, and now Sony doesn't get a sell from you because you played the game for free from a game that you borrowed. That's out the window. Number two, when you buy a game, you can't bring it back. You can't refund it. You can't, or not refund it, but you can't trade it in and put it on the shelf, and now the store can use it as a used game sale. It's killing the used game industry, right? Digital's effectively killing that, right? Sony knows when you buy this game digital, that's it. Whether you beat it or whether you even play it at all, it doesn't matter. You already bought it, they got your money, and they know you can't create a scenario where someone else can play a game other than game sharing, right? But as compared to the big market of used game sales, which at one point was $1 billion industry, those days are done. So they know that helps increase game sales output, right? They know games will sell more because there's less opportunities to buy the used versions of that, right? So the more people that adopt all digital over disc, it creates that scenario where you see less and less people contributing to the used games industry. So that's the reason right there, right? So, what would be the most likely scenario in this case? So that way Sony can compete price-wise and can make the consumer feel comfortable and the consumer can still appreciate it, right? I think the digital edition will be $3.99 and the physical edition will be $4.99, right? So, the PS5 physical edition will be matching the Xbox Series X. The all digital edition will be $100 cheaper than the Xbox Series X, but $100 more than the Series S. So how would this play out if they did that, right? So Sony prices that, but they're gonna focus, and I ain't gonna say they should focus. Not they will, because I don't know what Sony is actually going to do. This is just what I think they should do. They're going to say, hey, for $3.99 you get to play 4K, da 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 da. And they're gonna keep pushing that, starting at $3.99. They're not even gonna mention $4.99. They're not gonna mention at all. They're just gonna mention starting at $3.99. starting at $399. And they're gonna mention everything because the only difference between the digital and the physical edition is just a disc drive. But they can talk about 4K. They could talk about 120 FPS. They could talk about ray tracing. They're gonna talk a lot about haptic feedback. They're gonna show the new controllers. They're gonna show all the games, right? And the game's gonna run the exact same on both platforms. It's literally the same platform, right? The only difference is you just don't have a physical disc drive, right? But they're gonna mention, they should mention in the advertising, all that stuff, starting at $399. And they're gonna use the word starting at $399 because it's a safe advertising term. You know, they're not gonna say for only $399 because then that would be lying because you have another console that's $499. But when you say starting at $399, boom, $399, $399, $399, right? And they're gonna keep saying 4K, 4K, 4K. What that happens is it puts Microsoft in a position they didn't realize they were in. Because sure, they have the $299 console, but that console is not going to be able to say 4K at all. It's not going to be able to say none of that. They're not going to advertise haptic feedback and all that stuff, right? Nothing, right? $299 great price point, but it's not going to have the advantages of the PlayStation 5 has, right? So then Microsoft could talk about the Series X. It does have advantages or whatever, but the price point is $499. You understand what I'm saying? So Sony could be in the right position to make $399 the good sweet spot for the price and performance, right? That's number one. Number two, and I think is actually the number one point, is the games. Starting at $399, haptic feedback, 4K ray tracing, but more importantly, they're going to mention the games, and probably the most important, the games that takes advantage of this, right? They're going to show more exclusives. They'll probably show multi-plats as part of their, marketing deal, but they're going to show more exclusives than anything else. They're going to show the Spider-Mans. They're going to show the Horizon Zero Dawn. They're going to show Ratchet and Clank. They're going to show on TV, on YouTube, all these games that you will not see played anywhere else, not even on PC. It's only going to be on PlayStation, right? For $399, 4K ray tracing, you're going to see all these great games. You're going to see all these exclusives, right? That right there is what's going to separate the PlayStation brand from everything else, right? Now, Sony can absolutely ruin that opportunity by pricing these consoles too high, right? So that's why I think they should, and I think they will, price these consoles at $399 and $499. That is the good sweet spot, right? And they're going to stick with the narrative of starting at $399. They're not even, I don't think they're even going to put $499 in any advertisement. It's just going to be starting at $399. Because the truth is, you'll be able, all the games that you see on the screen, whatever, and all what they're talking about in terms of 4K, ray tracing, 60 frames, haptic feedback, all of that is applicable to the digital edition because they both have the same hardware. The only difference between the two is just the disc drive. But the way the games run will be the same exact way. So Sony can easily say everything about the games, how it's going to run, how it's going to look, and actually showing it on the screen. And when you look at it, let's say you imagine seeing, Ratchet and Clank. Imagine seeing Miles Morales. And you're going to be like, wow, man, all those games were great. And it's going to say starting at $399. And that's it. And that's the narrative they're going to push. And that's what they're going to do. Okay? I know some people are talking about $349. That's very aggressive. I doubt it. I'm sticking with $399. $499. I know some people, and I see in the chat, people are saying, what about $399 and $449? That's an interesting outlook, right? And I will say that might be a more plausible scenario compared to $349, $499. And I will say this why. I still think it's going to be $399, $499, right? But $449 could happen, very low chance, maybe 5% chance. I'm just making up numbers. I have no mathematical equation behind this. But the reason why I said that very small chance, but I would say the reason why it could be a possibility is because that $50 difference is just enough to cancel out the conversation of Xbox Series X being more powerful, right? Because if the PlayStation 5 disc edition is $449 and the Series X is $499, $450 to $500, people can say, oh, but Series X is more powerful. I'm like, but there's a $50 buffer that people could be like, yeah, but it's $50 cheaper and it still does 4K, still has ray tracing, plus it has Spider-Man, plus it has Ratchet and Clank, Demon Souls, Horizon Zero Dawn, and you know about God of War, in Naughty Dog, and people would just tack on reasons upon reasons and games upon games, right? So I could see that happening. But ultimately, I think $399, $499 is what Sony should do to really get the PlayStation 5 momentum. I think if Sony announces those prices, it's a wrap at that point. I think a lot of people will go for the $399 one. I think some of the hardcore gamers who still want to play on disc will go for the $499 model, right? But again, for $399 for a PlayStation 5, it's phenomenal. I think that's probably the best deal, especially with the hardware and the capabilities, haptic feedback controller. It would be absolutely phenomenal to be able to get a PlayStation 5 for $399. And I think at this point, a lot of people, some gamers aren't that distraught over physical games anymore. And then the ones who are, you don't have to buy it, but if you do want to buy it, then I think they're willing to pay $499. Not like me, I'm gonna buy the disc edition, so I'll pay the $499 because I have a lot of content, so it's worth it for me, right? But a lot of gamers already just buy digital just for PlayStation 4, so they have no issues getting the all digital edition, and it's the same hard drive space as the disc edition. It's 825 gigabytes of that, right? So will Sony $399? I think it's very plausible. I think they will do that, ultimately because they're probably going to push it hard and they want you to buy the digital edition. In the long run, they will make tremendous amount of money locking everybody into their ecosystem, into their store, right? Will they go as low as $349? I don't think so. I think that's very aggressive. But I really have no data to back that up. It's just a feeling, because ultimately to truly justify the pricing has to deal with loss, right? But I think at $399 and $499 is Sony's acceptable loss, because they know they will get a lot of content sales and they will get a lot of people onto their platform and they'll do it. When PlayStation 3 launched, it was actually like a $200 loss per unit, right? And they sold it for $600 and they were still at a $200 loss because of a Blu-ray player. But the issue with that was not so much the $200 loss, it was the fact that the console wasn't selling, so they couldn't make up the money on the loss for the PS3. Right? And then some of the people who did buy a PS3, they bought it primarily for movies, and Sony doesn't make money off of the movies in relation to PlayStation. It's the games, right? You need to buy the games, you need to buy the software, controllers. That's what's gonna make them their money back, and that wasn't happening for like the first 2-3 years. So Sony was losing a lot of money just because of it, right? So I think Sony's gonna lose money. Sony has no problem selling these consoles at a loss, right? But I know they're gonna be focused on, they want to sell the console. Remember, they said that in the beginning. Last year, they're gonna be aggressive with selling the consoles. They want this console generation to be the fastest adoption rate of consoles. They want PlayStation 4 gamers to jump on PlayStation 5 as fast as possible. So they're gonna focus on providing amazing content. Guru Legends, thank you for the super chat. He says Sony should drop $599 for flagship, give them the low gigs for $500. The price will drop when Sony get them blockbuster sales. The PS4 is worth the money. Let the Xbox go into the bargain bin clearance. I'm telling you, $500, $599 is not going to work out well for that. Between Nvidia selling the video cards for $499 and Xbox announced $299, $449, you got all these. You got two powerful things, right? You got the Nvidia 370 for $499, the Xbox Series X for $499, PlayStation 5 selling for $599. As much as we hardcore talk about the SSD and IO architecture, that's not a big sellable point. It's not an easy sellable point. Saying the most powerful console is a sellable point and something digestible. But if you're gonna sell your PS5 for $599 and Microsoft puts in their advertisement the world's most powerful console, it's not going to look good for PlayStation 5. It's just not. Because people are going to look at it, $599, and you're not the most powerful console. It's going to be 2013 all over again. Yes, they got the banging games, but the negativity behind selling a weaker console at the highest price will override the games for a couple of years until you get it to the right price point. It's just naturally. It's just going to be a natural... it's just going to be that negativity is just going to it's just gonna take a new life in its own, and it's gonna be so bad that no one's gonna. The conversation of, oh, but Spider-Man, it's just gonna be muffled. Everybody's gonna be like, nah, $5.99, $5.99, $5.99. That's all people's gonna do. People are just gonna keep on saying $5.99, $5.99. You're gonna be like, oh, but we got Horizon Zero Dawn. They're gonna be like, but it's $5.99. Oh, we got GT. It's not $5.99. And then and you're gonna hear that so much because again, I saw this with the PS3. It's exactly what happened to PS3. You can name all the games you want, and people are just gonna reply back, but $5.99, but $5.99. And then ultimately, you're just gonna respond back with, well, then don't buy the PlayStation then. And they're gonna say, exactly, we're not at $5.99, and that's why it will be a bad direction. You know, if Sony puts that thing at $500, it's gonna be the hardcore getting it, but the majority won't. Which goes back to my original point: if the console doesn't push hard sales, Sony loses that strength, that ability to negotiate with third party to get these timed exclusives, right? You know, these timed exclusives Sony was able to easily get, or exclusives in general, right? From third party, they were able to easily get them. They won't have that pull no more, right? Because it's not third party's invested interest to exclusively or time exclusively have a deal with a console that don't sell. It's just not, it doesn't make sense for a third party. Lionel B, what's up, my brother? Thank you for rocking out with me. He says, yo, Porter Rock, there's rumor about a Series V with a picture of 3 Series console. I don't know what the hell's going on at this point, man. Like, I just saw that, and I haven't even dove deep into that. And I don't even know how to begin. To begin this discussion. Like, a Series V. Like, what is that? Like, I don't know. Like, is that the $399 version? Like, yo, this is straight up Sega in every way. Like, how many different versions of consoles are you going to create? I'm telling you, consoles are not phones. They're simply not, right? Because no one truly really cares about the best version of Twitter or Snapchat. Like, no one really cares about that. Most of the time, the different versions of phones is really for two types of people. One group that wants a new phone but don't want to pay the high price, but they want the latest phone, but they don't really want to pay the high price. And then the other group wants the latest phone, but they want the best version, and it's more of a talking point that they got the best version. Because when you look at it, a lot of people will have the absolute top line, like for example, the iPhone Max 11, right? The people who have that, they don't do nothing with it other than most of them don't do nothing with it, rather just Snapchat. They literally just like Snapchatting and on Twitter. They're not doing anything that warrants an $1,100 phone, right? Other than saying that they got one. Like, you see what I'm saying? But with gaming, you have all these different schools, right? And the way Microsoft's been doing it, they're literally doing different specs. That's going to impact game development, right? Voodoo Legends, thank you again for the super chat. He said, so Sony should sell their console for cheap because MS Xbox brand is a failure? Nope. The Xbox cheap for a reason. Sony is worth gaming money. You really need to go back to PlayStation 3. You really need to look up PlayStation 3. You really need to revisit PlayStation 3. Like, you really need to revisit that. Like, Garuda. I appreciate it, but just go back to PlayStation 3. Just go back. Start from 2005. And then work your way. Go read the articles from 2005, 2006. You know, PlayStation was coming off of the PlayStation 2. Sony was out there telling people, you need to get 2 jobs. And I'm not lying to you, Garuda. Garuda, I am not lying to you. Sony said people will work 2 jobs to get a PlayStation 3. Right? I'm not lying. I swear to God to you, Garuda. Sony said this. You will work 2 jobs to get a PlayStation 3. What you're saying right now, Sony's worth the gaming money. Sony truly believed that. You will work 2 jobs. They told that to everybody. That's how important the PlayStation 3 was, right? They even said that was going to do what? 120 FPS at 1080p? I'm not lying. This thing's happened. It truly happened, right? And that shit fell flat on his face, Garuda. It fell flat on his face. Bad. It fell Garuda. It was so bad for the PlayStation 3, right? And you can look this up right now, because you know I'm not lying to you. Right now, what I want you to do, Garuda, open up your web browser, go to Google, type in Activision will not support PS3 or threatens to not support PS3 in the years 2009. And you're going to read the article where Bobby Kotick, the CEO of Activision, said in 2009. Now keep in mind, this is 3 years after PlayStation 3 launched. 3 years. And he said that if PS3 does not sell better, we will stop supporting the console. And this was 2009. Right? 2009. He said this. Right? That should tell you how bad PS3 was. What saved Sony, right, is they recognize how they launched this console was stupid, huge mistake, and they were smart enough to correct it, right? They saw themselves heading towards, they were driving the Titanic and they saw the iceberg miles away. So they were able to be like, you know, they did a hard left to get out the way, right? Harder, you know, and earlier. So they were smart to realize trying to treat the PlayStation as you're going to get it because it's PlayStation was a bad idea. Sony realized they have to consistently earn the gamer's trust every single gen. They learned that, right? 2, they learned that price does matter. You can't just put a price on PlayStation and think everybody's just going to simply accept it. It's just not possible. You have to be appropriately priced, right? Notice, no PlayStation console, right, default, like basic bundle, was $500 this gen. No PlayStation 4. The highest they went with the basic bundle, right, was $400. Have you noticed that? They did not touch 500. They didn't be like, oh, we're going to get you the Pro for 500. No. They made sure they stood within that 400 block. And they did that for a reason. They understand and they learn from the PlayStation 3, you can't just go, oh, it's $599, we worth it. Nah, that's not how the consumers work. It's just not possible. It just isn't. Sony's not releasing $599, and it's not about, oh, they should go cheap. No, they should go with the right price that's acceptable to the mass market, so that way people will buy it. Sony's gonna make their money anyway in games and content. That's how they make their money anyway, right? But you gotta release the console in a more acceptable price point. And $599 for a PlayStation 5, even if it was the most powerful console, ain't really acceptable at least this point in time. In this era right now, it's just not there. Will there be a time where consoles will launch at $599? I would say maybe next gen or the gen after. That's a possibility. But I think $399, $499, right? It's not like the specs are gonna change, Garuda. The specs not gonna change. It's not like because they sell it at $399 for the digital edition, $499 for the disc edition, that the console gets weaker. It's still the same console. The console stays the same. The specs are not gonna change, right? But what you want is mass adoption. What you want to see is Sony says, hey, we sold 10 million in 3 months. You want to see that, right? Not because money comes into our pocket, but when we see that, we know now Sony's going to have a level of pull. They're going to have some, you know, they're going to have some strength. They're going to have things to back up, right? The PS4 was $599. What? What? The PS4 was not $599. Unless you're in Australia or something. I don't know what you're talking about, Garuda. Like, unless you're talking about Brazil pricing, PS4 was $399, Garuda. Right? Hell, it was $399 when I bought in 2015. And that was 2 years after launch. It was never $599. Maybe in Australia or something. I don't know. I don't know where. I don't know. You know. I hope you were in America and you pay $5.99 because they got you, dog. That you know. You went to Funko Land and that dude, day one flagship in America, day one. Oh, they got you, dog. Because everybody was buying PS4s for $3.99. Day one. Yo, Funko Land got you, Garuda. Like, oh snap. They got you good. You know, before that store closed, they be like, yo, we gonna yo, damn, Garuda, man. Like, what's wrong with you? Like, what Garuda, help me out here. What was in that PS4 that you paid an extra $200? Like, what was in it? If you pay $5.99 in the US? Like, what did you get with it? Like, was it 3-4 games and 2 controllers? Because if the store forced you to buy a bundle, okay, I get it. But that's only because they forced you to buy extra stuff with it. But I know you ain't paid $5.99 for just a PS4 and a controller. Please, Garuda. Like, what happened? Like, explain this. Was it gold? yo, Garuda, man, like Funko Land before they went out of business, said, hey, we're gonna get this $200. Yo, yo, Funko Land's like, yo, we going out of business. Like, yo, dog. Yo, as soon as you walk in the store, Garuda be like, yo, how much that PS4 cost? And they're like, you don't know what that PS4 cost? Like, nah. They went and they grabbed the price and they went, yeah, it's $5.99, dog, and this is the premium shit. This is premium. Yeah, premium? Yeah, it's premium, dog. Premium PlayStation. So my man bought it, gave up $600, walked out the store. Then 3 days later, he's like, yo, these dudes ripped me off. This shit ain't $5.99. This shit's $3.99. Let me go back and get my $200. And then when he went back to the store, it was gone because it was Funko Land and closed out. Yo, cool. I'm sorry, I played with you. But what was it? I'm a cruising next to PR Santa Cruz. I live in America. I got a 40 gig PS3 for $299. Man, now you're confusing me, man. I don't know what console you're talking about. Puerto Rock. What do you think about Xbox Series S being $1.50 in 2024? That's actually not bad. I'm telling you. And you might as well wait till 2024 because that's when Xbox will finally release games. You know what I'm saying? Yo, shout out. We got 277 people out here with 82 likes. Come on, hook a brother up, man. Give me a little bit of habu. Show a little love with that like button. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got no Patreon. I ain't got no members things. Everything's free in this channel. Can I get a free microtransaction here? Hit that like button. Hook a brother up. He got the last Funko Land console. There's my man Garuda, man. Shout out. But where did you get the $5? Yo, Garuda, come on, man. I need to know. If you pay $5.99 day one for a PS4, I need to know how. We need to hear it. Like, hook it up. Tell me. What was it? Did they force? Now, I'm going to tell you, okay? I'll tell you my story, right? To be fair. I actually paid $500 for a PS2, but it wasn't a base PS2, right? PS2 was hard to find. I remember I drove up to Yonkers. I was living in New York at the time, right? And I was looking all over New York to get it the day it launched. I was in Brooklyn. I used to date a girl that lived in the Bronx, so I went to the Bronx, whatever. And she's like, yo, since we're already up north in the Bronx, let's go up to Yonkers, which is not too far, and see if we say anything, right? So I actually drove to Yonkers, and I found, me joking, but was it Funko Land? I'm here. You know what? I'm here bullshitting. Now I see why I said Funko Land. Because it was a Funko Land for me. I ain't gonna lie. It was, I'm here joking with Garuda, but that shit happened to me, right? So I go in there, they had 3 PlayStation 2s, right? And it was me. I walked in the door first, and the dude walked in behind me, right? I'm like, yo, let me get that PlayStation 2, right? The dude goes, you can't just buy the PlayStation 2. This is rare, so you have to buy a PlayStation 2. You need to pick 3 games, a memory card, and a controller, right? So 3 games, a memory card, and a controller. I had to buy all 3. That's the only way they were selling it. And I was like, man, I gotta buy all that? He goes, listen, that guy right behind you. And he said to the guy, hey, are you gonna buy all that? He goes, yep, I'm gonna buy all that. He goes, so take it or leave it. And I said, fine. And I ended up spending like over $500. But I ended up spending up $400 because I got the console plus 3 games. I remember one of them was like Armored Core. I even bought like Midnight Club, and I don't even like racing games, man. That was what really sucked the most. That one of the games I bought was one I didn't even like. It was like one of the racing games. It was Midnight Club or some stupid shit. What racing game launched with that? Man, it's trash. You didn't like the trash, but I did it though, right? But I bought 3 games. 2 of them I liked. Tekken was one of them. Tekken Tag, I think. One racing game and Armored Core. Armored Core was alright, but whatever, right? I bought a controller and I bought a memory card. But I got my PlayStation. It was GT3. Was it GT? No, it wasn't GT3. Was it GT3? I don't know, man. But I hate racing games, man. I really hate racing games. I hate it. I hate racing games, man. But I ended up buying that. So that, and it was from Funko Land. I got, but I got that because PlayStation 2, it was like October. It was hard to come by. They didn't release a lot. And I'm in Yonkers, so I live in Brooklyn, and I drove all the way up to, so it probably was GT3. Yo, shout out to Champagne Campaign, man, Wapa, right? So I'm all the way up in Yonkers, right? So I just did it. I was driving around everywhere, and I found the one place. They had 3 of them, and so I bought it. Spent over $500, but it was because of a kit, right? So it is what it is. So I kind of feel like Garuda Legends. But Garuda, did you type in why you pay $599 for the PlayStation 4? And PlayStation 4 wasn't that rare. It wasn't that hard to come by. It wasn't that hard to come by. Let me see. What was that racing game? PS2 launch. PS2 launch games. I mean, let me look that up. What was the PS2 launch games? What trash? What trash I got forced to buy? PS2 launch titles. Am I bugging? To tag. Midnight Club. It was Midnight Club. I knew it was Midnight Club. That game is what I bought. Was it Midnight Club? Yeah, it was Midnight. Let me look at the game. Yeah, it was Midnight Club, right? Or no? God damn it. Was it Midnight Club? They have Ridge Racer. No, it wasn't Ridge Racer. Man. And they didn't have the shit I really wanted, man. They didn't have like Unreal Tournament. They only had like 4 or 5. They didn't even have a lot of games, man. I think, man, it was trash. But anyway, whatever. I can't remember. I don't think I even popped in the disc. I don't think I even unwrapped it. I was playing like Armored Core and Tekken for a while, and then the game started coming out. Right? A $299 PS5 all digital, Chris Harte. Yeah, now we wishing. Now we wishing. Right? That's a deep wish. Right? That will blow people's mind. Like, I don't know, but it's not gonna happen. I think $399 is the most likely stuff, right? I think it's the most stuff right there. What else we got? Didn't PS2 launch with Bouncer? I thought that, but the problem is there was a lot of title, but because of where I was at, they didn't have a lot of choices. I was limited to the choices that they had, which was barely any, right? It wasn't like a Toys R Us or something that had a bigger selection. They didn't really have a huge selection, so I just picked that. I really bought it because of the console, and I wanted it already. Got Funko Land, bro. I'm glad that place got canceled, bastards. Right? No, Funko Land became EB Boutique and all that stuff. Craziness, right? So let's see. $449, $349. You heard it here first. Corey Massey said that. $349, $449. We'll see how it goes. Let's see what we got. A $299 PS5 will literally cause Microsoft to do another Bruce announcement. Not for all. MSXS were pissed at what happened in 2013. I don't know. Well, I don't think Sony could go too low. At a certain point, depending how much these consoles, they can't go that low. They're gonna sell these consoles at a loss, but it's gonna be within reason, right? But I think Microsoft selling $299 and $499. I think it's safe to say we will not be seeing a PlayStation 5 console higher than $499. I think that already set the lateral limit. It set the boundary. $499 is the max that we'll be seeing in these consoles. Not including bundles and all that. Just the base SKU with console, controller, and cables. $499 is the max. It just comes down to how cheap the digital edition will be. I think it's going to be a $400 cheaper because I just don't see the digital edition being just $50. It's not really significant between the two. You want something, and I think Sony advertising starting at $399 is what they're going to do. I think that's what's going to be a huge important aspect to that. Rest in peace GameStop. Yeah, facts. It just sucks. And I think more people would feel sorry for GameStop if they had a better trade-in program, because their trading program sucked. They give you like 2 nickels for a game, and then they go back on the shelf and sell it for like $58. A $60 game used is like $54, or not even like $55. Like, what? Like a $5 difference for a used game, and you bought it back for like 3 pennies. They went ridiculous, right? You know what I'm saying? They really went ridiculous with the used market, they, and I think that's why a lot of people don't feel sorry for GameStop. GameStop, nobody feels sorry for them. I think GameStop would have been more supported if they had better pricing in the used game market. Like if you got a used game, has to be, let's say if it's a $60 game, right? The game is still $60. The used version should be no more than $45, right? Because they're gonna get all the money anyway. They don't split it with the devs. People want things worth money. The Xbox just made themselves to be a basic thrift store. Sony should never lower their prices to losers like Xbox division. Man, my man Garuda be driving Austin Martins and shit. My man Garuda out here like, yo, if you have to ask for the price, then obviously you can't afford it. My man goes to restaurants with no prices on the menu. Garuda out there, if he goes to a restaurant and he sees one price, he walking out. And they're gonna be like, oh sir, what's wrong? You have prices on your menu. This place ain't worth it. He only goes to places where don't even tell him how much the food costs. He orders his food and then he just gives up his Visa Black Card. They don't even give him a receipt. They just swipe and they walk away. He doesn't even look at the bank statements. My man don't want to talk about prices, right? He don't buy cars with the MSRP sticker on it. He just be like, I'll take that card. They'll be like, okay, sign here. There you go. And then he drives away. Yo, Garuda's crazy. Remember, Garuda, PlayStation launched cheaper than the Xbox. And the most expensive console this gen was the Xbox brand. So price does have something to do with it. Remember, PlayStation 4 launched at $400. Xbox One launched at $500. The Xbox One X was $500. The Pro was $400. So Sony coming out with good competitive pricing, but yet still have a great product. It's not that uncommon. But my man Garuda out there with the Visa Black Card, he ain't trying to hear about prices. Don't give him a menu and he sees a price on that. Don't be that restaurant, because he walking out. Alright? And then when he goes into your car lot, if you're a car salesman and Garuda calls in your car lot, don't talk about the MSRP or how much money you can save. He's going to walk right out. He don't want to know about prices. He's just going to be like, sell me the car. And don't even tell him. Just charge him. Charge him for more than what the car's actually worth. He don't care. Garuda eats extra caviar. Oh, my bad, Garuda. I said, nah, look at the price beforehand and be like, explain. Nah, you don't. No, you don't. You don't want to look at it. And the more, the moment they tell you, hey, and the price of the car, Garuda's like, nope, it ain't worth it. If you have to tell me the price, it ain't a product I want to hear about. Oh, man. That PS4 Garuda bought was the Porsche Sport 4. I hear it. He wants his consoles made by Aston Martin. Like, yo, that's crazy. This is funny. Yo, Garuda's crazy. He's like, man, Sony, you better sell that shit at $599. He ain't trying to hear Sony selling a console anything less than $599. It best be $599. Oh, snap. Yo, yeah, right? Garuda's gonna get that gold-plated PS5. That's like $5,000. He's gonna have the gold plates with the gold controller. He's gonna get that gold edition, right? He's gonna be like liquid metal cooled. He's gonna have the only PlayStation 5 that's cooled with mercury. He's like, my thing stays the coolest because it has mercury in it. Oh man, you guys are wilding out. Yo, oh snap, this is crazy. Oh man, what else we got here? What do you guys think about Assassin's Creed being 4K 60 on the Xbox Series X? It's good news, right? It's good news because at least we got some type of confirmation, right? So being 4K 60, I think that's pretty good. I wonder what's going to be on the PlayStation 5. You think Ubisoft will also reach 4K 60 on the PS5? Because the one thing I want to say with resolution, just because one card can do it doesn't mean another card can't do it, right? It's really about the minimum spec, right? Just because it's 4K 60 on Xbox Series X doesn't mean it can't be 4K 60 also, right? PlayStation may have the juice to be 4K 60, you know, or maybe they'll go with dynamic 4K. That's a possibility too. I know Hip Hop Gamer mentioned stuff that Sony's trying to develop or currently in develop technology similar to DLSS 2.0. Not exactly that, because that's obviously NVIDIA tech, but it's the same principle. You know, you're reconstructing 4K, but after it's reconstructed, it actually looks better than native 4K, right? And I think that's the way to go. On this next gen, I will begin with Xbox Series X. Or this is Murillo. He says, on this next gen, I will begin with Xbox Series S, then get a PS5 later, hoping the best for the exclusives here, but already happy to have a next gen tech. It's not a bad way to go. You start out cheap, $299, especially you don't want to invest heavily, and then if PlayStation 5, depending on the price point, you could jump in. Now, Maria, what if the all digital edition for PlayStation 5 is $399? Are you willing to spend the extra $100 to get that first, or are you still gonna get the Series S? Please ask that, and thank you for the super chat. But I think DLSS 2.0, 2.1, what NVIDIA's doing, I think more gaming companies, you know, with hardware or whatever, like Sony, even Microsoft should adopt that, right? Because they can't keep going with this brute power for native, you know. Imagine when native 8K becomes a thing. Like, how powerful all these consoles have to be to reach that, right? At the end of the day, it's all about just the beautiful graphics that you see on the screen, right? Not so much whether the resolution is native or not. Especially with 1440p, that's more than enough clarity, right? But now they have the capability with these type of solutions to reconstruct the image, so that way you don't have to tax the performance with native resolution, like native 4K, native 8K, whatever. But with these reconstruction techniques, it ends up looking better than native 4K, you know. And then Digital Foundry showed one of those examples with Control in his DLSS 2.0, where the game looks just as good and in some instances better than the native K format, right? And you get a huge performance gain. And I think we entered the era where we no longer have to look at gaming like the way we did in 2013, where it's native 1080p versus 720p or checkerboard. Those days are over. Technology made it to where now checkerboarding is potentially could be a better solution with these type of technologies, where you'll get potentially better looking games if you go with these technologies, vice just trying to do natively, and you'll get the performance gains. So that's, yeah, Triza Rector said the best, post-resolution era. It is, and Digital Foundry used that term also. We went past native gaming, because as these technologies become more prominent and better, you're going to have better looking games, and they're not native. And because of that, the tax is not there, you know, the performance tax. You'll get 60 frame games will be more common, and maybe above 60 frames. I don't see that happening a lot, but I definitely see reconstructed technologies with, you know, these type of technologies, and you'll get your 60 frames and better looking games compared to native games. So post resolution era is over. I know dudes, especially on the Xbox camp, would want that 2013 shit talking back, but they're just not gonna get it, you know. And I think it's good for gaming. We need to focus on technologies that could produce better looking games without the performance tax. And that ultimately will make these platforms, you know, really be more bang for the buck. I will stick with the Xbox Series S. Let's see what's going to be the price here in Brazil, because Sony things are imported day one, so it's more always expensive than the cheap Xbox that are fabricated here. Okay. Oh yeah, because they have a Xbox plant there, so it's a lot cheaper because it's in the country. I see. I got you. So that makes sense. Stuff like that. The Mook Man. I'm only getting a PS5 because exclusives. Of course, PC has better graphics, but games I only mess with PS exclusives. I'm gonna go PS5, PC also. PC will be my secondary platform because it's primarily gonna be the platform for games I can't get on PS5 and then also for this right here. And that's a big reason too, because I want a better machine so I could do better quality streams, render my streams at higher resolutions, better performance. And then also I want to get into video editing so I could provide, 10-minute videos, 5-minute videos, 7-minute videos in between podcasts and live streams. But I want them to really look good in quality. I don't have the laptop. This laptop, is just not good for that. It will take too long to render and all that stuff. So a good PC overall that could be my second platform and provide great content for you fellas. That's what it's all about. I'm up late? No, I'm not. So I'm not in Germany no more. I'm actually in California. True Bleed. So it's only 9:51 p.m. here. You probably think it's 3 in the morning, right? No, I'm not in Germany. So if people didn't realize I'm back in the States. I moved back in January, so I'm here in California now. So that's why I've been able to do my podcast now consistently on Monday. So for those of you that don't know, podcast every Monday, 5:30 p.m. West Coast, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, and I think I'm watching at 5:51 a.m. in the UK right now. Brother, I was there with you, man. I was in Germany. It's not easy, man. It's not easy at all, man. God, I feel bad for everybody in Europe, man. You guys have it hard, man. The E3s, and every time there's an event and they do it Pacific time, like, God, it's crazy. Garuda, I grew up with games like Where on Earth is Coming, Santiago, is San Diego, and Lemmings. Graphics, I don't care about. I like good games. I feel you. It's all about the games, man. Some of the best platforms with the best games have been the weaker ones. What you think of Ubisoft? What you think of Ubisoft Forward? Ubisoft Forward? Did I miss something? I know that I've seen a lot of things trending on Ubisoft, and I haven't had time to look into that. I haven't had time to really look into that. What was this? Ooh. Okay, I gotta talk to my wife on that one. But anyway, now my wife just showed me pics of these kicks, and I like it, and I want it. All right. So anyway, yeah. Sorry, I lost my thing. Right. What was I talking about, man? My wife distracted me with these kicks. Let's see, Ubisoft Forward. It was trash. You didn't miss nothing. Oh, so they had like a little presentation. I'll be honest, I rarely see third party. This is the thing. I have nothing wrong with third party, but it's just, is it me or is it not really exciting, right? Unless it's like a new IP, it's just, I don't know what it is. Like, I watch third party E3s and it just doesn't hit. You know what I mean? Am I crazy? I'm not saying I don't play the games, because I play a lot of third-party games. I just don't really care for their shows. It just doesn't hit. You know what I mean? Script's the same way. It's just, what is it about? It's just like, EA E3, Ubisoft E3. It's just, I'd rather just see a YouTube video, and that's it. It's just a specific show from them just doesn't hit right. I don't know what it is. I don't know, man. I just can't. He said GTA. All right, Scritch Cure, GTA 6. Okay, they hit, but it's like they don't even do shows anymore, right? Because they just literally they do a little teaser on Twitter, like a little color or something, whatever, and then boom, a video on YouTube. But they don't actually do shows anymore, right? But if Rockstar did a show, yes, I would watch that instantly. Even though I didn't like Red Dead 2, it doesn't matter. Overall, majority, I like 99% of their games. Red Dead 2 just didn't do it for me. I don't know why. I just be honest. Well, I think it's because of controls. The controls are bad. It just annoyed the hell out of me, and because of that, the game was easy. And I truly believe the game was dead to rights easy because they knew the controls suck, so they had to make the game easy. It was not challenging at all. And it was just, and because the game was not challenging at all, I didn't do any of the side stuff that would normally, make your character better. I didn't need to do that. So that took the fun out of that too. Because why I'm gonna hunt and do all this stuff to boost my stats when I don't need to boost it? It was just be a waste. Having to babysit your horse every 20 minutes. That's another thing. The horseback riding was just insane. The fast travel was trash. Terrible fast travel. Ghost of Tsushima's fast travel is dope. Probably the best I played this gen. Because not only they have it in the right spots and they have plenty of it, but it's fast. Like, you leave fast travel, I'm thinking usually, in an open world game, you're going to wait a little bit, right? I'm not exaggerating, but just enough to check a tweet or two on Twitter, right? You press fast travel, go on Twitter, yeah, still doing, look at it, oh yeah, talking shit, haha, Xbox sucks, what, laugh out loud, and then see some reactions, okay, good, and then you play a game. I could barely pick up my phone before the game would start popping, so it's pretty cool, and stuff like that. What we got, RDR2 is just, and I know some people loved it, and I think with the issues I had, if people don't have issues with the controls, which a lot of people didn't have, and people didn't have issues with the difficulty, and some people love the hunting just for the sake of hunting and exploring, then some people love the game, and I can't knock them for that. I just didn't like it for the things I didn't like about it. The controls is just it just got to me. I couldn't take it, And what was funny, a year later when they released the PC version, one of the big things they talked about was the controls. And then they updated the PlayStation, the console controls a year later. And I'm like, geez, mother. Yo, P-Rock, you see the news that Kino only takes 2 seconds to boot up the game? Yeah, I heard about that. That's crazy, man. That's one thing I'm really excited about this gen is minimizing loading. You could just get in and just play the game. I miss those days from the cartridge era. Just being able to press start and boom, you're just playing the game. It's just boom, 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 right? I miss those days, man. And now they're coming back. They're coming back with that. Kina is looking good. I gotta admit, I don't want to say gaming. It just reminds me of, this is going to be PlayStation versions of what was that game on 360? It was actually made by Rare. It was a good game. It started with a K also. Help me out here. I'm an old man. I'm losing my memory. It was Rare who made it on 360. It started with a K too. And they were supposed to make a sequel. And the sequel, no, not Kelowna. Cameo. There you go. Cameo. Woo! Someone said Zelda. No, Cameo. Yes, Cameo. Cameo. And it was a good game too on 360. That was a really good game. You ever saw the leak pics of Cameo 2? Type in, when you get the chance, go to go on your Google and type in Cameo 2 leaks. They canceled it, but look at the graphics of what they were planning to do before they turned Rare into what's that bullshit thing on Xbox? Kinect. Before they turned them into a Kinect studio. They had this game ready, or they were about to, but Donnie Matrix said, nah, you're gonna do this. You're gonna focus on Kinect, and that's when they made Kinect Adventures and all that weird stuff, right? But type in Cameo. In fact, let me see if I can find it. Let me see, and I'll post it up for you guys, so we could do it together. Let me load it up. Let me load it up on the thing. Give me a second, so I could show you. Cameo 2 leak. All right. So for those of you I'm gonna show you the original Cameo, and then I'm gonna show you the artwork, the plan for the new Cameo. Let me hook you up. I'm gonna bless y'all with this. I was like, oh snap. And then they were like, nah, dog. Donnie D was like, nah, I want that. Kinect Adventures. And I was like, what? I'm like, come on, man. Let me see. Let me get this image. Let's see where we at. No. Let's see. Man, if you don't give me that picture right now. Okay, boom. Alright, let me save this image. Then I'm gonna show it to you. It was really good looking. Alright, let me load this up. Let me load this up. Give me a second. I'm gonna load this up for y'all. Some of y'all already seen it, but let me show y'all. Let me put this as an image. Yeah, I messed up. Let's see. Now I'm also supposed to put that as artwork for y'all, but give me a second. Let me put this up. I'm gonna show you. Here we go. Okay. Let me do this for y'all. Okay, what the hell? That thing is tiny as hell. Is it? Alright, so you see that's Cameo. Right? That was the first one. It was a good game. It was a good game. It was rare. Right? That's Cameo right there. Right? So enjoy that one. And then I'm gonna show you the leaked Cameo game. Okay, so everybody's seen that, right? Now let me show you the leaked Cameo. You ready to see the leaked one? And Simon says, bam! There it is. That was gonna be the new Cameo game for the sequel, from Rare. And you can see the Rare symbol right there. It look good, right? Look at that. It's gonna be redesigned with more realistic graphics. That's actually a game render, not an actual painting. It's actual the render of it, and that was gonna be their game. That's what they were working on. It looks really good. But this got canceled, and you saw the future of what Rare does. You know, that's pretty good, right? That looks real good, you know. And I think, if I remember reading this right, it was supposed to be not so much a response. You could say it's kind of a response, but because Sony was pushing realistic graphics, you know, because PlayStation 3 had Uncharted, which looked amazing. Even Infamous, Heavy Rain. So this was going to be the answer to try to push a game, but with a bit more realistic looking characters, vice this right here, right? And you can see a huge difference, right? Because this is very cartoony, but it was a great game. You know, it had a nice charm. But this right here, like, damn, they really, you know, they really wanted to do something with this, right? What the fuck? Why did they cancel this then? It was Donnie D, man. He did that. He wanted Rare to strictly focus on supporting Connect, Project Natal. Porter Rock, what do you think about the hate of The Last of Us 2? Yeah, whatever. The game is still selling. In fact, it's one of the highest completed games on PlayStation. More people actually beat, or at least percentage-wise for the group, you know, as compared to Spider-Man God of War. Lots of people love that game, you know. It's just, I think some people are just, I don't know. I mean, to be honest, if you don't like the game, you don't like the game. But you don't have to like the game. Maybe, you know, I could understand being upset because Joel, well, we know. You know, I could completely understand that. It is what it is. Like what you like. But the reality is, there's some metrics to the game that can't be avoided. Number one, its completion rate is at 58%, which is insane for a game where more than half of the people that bought it beat the game. That's insane. Not a lot of games. Most games don't get that high. Higher percentage than Spider-Man, higher percentage than God of War, higher percentage than Horizon Zero Dawn. I even made a joke on Twitter. Of course, you know, I live for the jokes, right? On Twitter. More people beat The Last of Us 2 than Xbox gamers beat the second mission of Halo 5. Halo 5 second mission had like a 48% completion rate. That means people who played Halo, only 48% actually bothered to beat the second mission. That means more than half of the people stopped playing Halo. I'm not lying. I put that on the on my Twitter. I even showed the stat. You know, majority of the gamers stopped playing the game at mission 2. 48%. It was like 48.5, something like that. Completed mission 2. The second mission. That means 52% of the gamers are like, I'm done. Halfway into mission 2, they're like, yeah, I'm done. I'm done with this trash. They're like, I give up. That's crazy, right? Yo, it's funny. And then obviously, you know, with every mission, the stats get lower and lower and lower. I think maybe 38% or something like that actually beat Halo 5. But mission 2, so more people beat The Last of Us 2 as compared to people beating mission 2 of Halo 5. And that's actually, I'm not lying. That was funny. But I showed the two pictures. I showed the two achievement tracker and PSN trophy tracker, right? It's pretty funny. You know, got a lot of people, right? What else? P-Rock, do you think the standalone Last of Us multiplayer game will be free to play? I think so. It's just my opinion, right? I think with games like Apex Legends, even Destiny 2 went free to play. Call of Duty Warzone, they're making a killing. The game changed for free to play multiplayer compared to paid multiplayer. And I think Sony will be successful. And I say this is probably the one game, their next multiplayer, I think it's going to be free to play, standalone free to play. And I think it's going to be available on PS4, PS5. And I will say and admit that this one game could be on PC day one. And the reason why is I don't think they'll use this game as a system seller for the PS5. I think they're more interested in this particular game, you know, since it could be free to play. I think it might be free to play just to have a big crowd that they could sell these microtransaction dances and badges, because that's where they make their money. And then they just keep adding seasons. You know, The Last of Us Season 1, The Last of Us Season 2, The Last of Us Season 3, The Last of Us Season 4, and, you know, just like Warzone. And I think they're just going to keep doing that. Or, you know, whatever. I don't think it's going to be Battle Royale. I think they're going to, I don't know. They might have a Battle Royale mode. I think that would be crazy because when you think about it, you know, the Battle Royale is what's that game? It's like the Mockingbird. What's that dumbass movie called? Like I said, the Mockingbird. You know what I'm talking about. You know, May, whatever. You know, the one with the chick and arrow. It's that damn movie called. My daughter used to watch The Hunger Games. There you go. You know, that's literally Battle Royale when you think about it, right? Am I lying? Because before the Hunger Games, I don't remember playing Battle Royale games where it's just 100 people get thrown in the middle and then the map gets smaller and smaller and smaller in order to kill each other, right? That was a Hunger Game thing. And then the Hunger Games was a book. So that's all these Battle Royale games are, is the Hunger Games, right? So when you look at it, The Last of Us 2 is a very visceral game. You know, a lot of the Battle Royale games is very shooter. It's very shooter. It's a first person shooter. Great. No, not knocking them, but it's, you know, it's a shooter in the Battle Royale mode. But The Last of Us Battle Royale mode, you're like stabbing somebody in the eye. You know what I'm saying? You might not even have a gun. You might have like a bow with one arrow. To kill a dude, gotta grab a trash can and smash their head in. You know what I mean? You know, it's like straight up survival. You know, and I think that would be that would, you know, it's not just, you know, you got a 249 machine gun and you know, to survive. No, it's like straight raw, you know, stabbing and chainsaws and just, you know, that's true. Thank you for mine. Danny D's World. He said, but even before that, Stephen King wrote The Long Walk. I never read that book, but The Running Man, I did read that. And yes, The Running Man was similar. But the only thing, The Running Man wasn't really Hunger Games. It was a contest where one man had to survive. You know, all people killing them, right? Vice individual groups of people killing each other until there's one survivor. I don't know about The Long Walk. I never read that book. But I know The Running Man was about a TV show where one man had to survive a contest. Hell, who remembered the Arnold Schwarzenegger? Yeah, it was The Running Man. He did the movie. For games, it started with the Japanese movie, though. I mean, this was probably, you know, I'm not gonna say it started with the Hunger Games. I've just noticed that Hunger Games came out first, but it could be inspired by a lot of things. No, I meant more that The Running Man introduced entertainment. Yes, you are right, Dandy. Yes, it did introduce this type of entertainment. Yeah. The guy, Player Unknown, said he got inspired by it. Okay. You know, so it's a good thing. But I would say the big difference is because, you know, Player Unknown, you know, PUBG, Warzone, even Fortnite, it's all gun based, right? And I'm sure they have like a little accent mallet. But The Last of Us 2, they could get sick with it. It could be crazy. They could really, like, you know, stab somebody with a screwdriver or something. Like some straight survival stuff. You know what I mean? Could be some crazy stuff. They could really go ham on that. All right. Let me switch this picture. You see what I'm saying? Well, anyway, that's Cameo. Man, I wish they really made this game. For real, for real. Look at that. Would have been cool. They could. They own it, right? They could always bring it back. They should bring it back. Like that. Especially now the graphics will even be better. I think a lot of people, I think this game will invigorate a lot, you know? I think so. You know? But hey, what do I know? I'm just a dude that plays games. True first. Movie called Battle Royale made it popular. Movie called Battle Royale made it popular. I'm gonna look at that. So that's it, you know. So, all right, it's 10 o'clock. I want to play some games. I'm gonna play some Ghost of Tsushima. I'm gonna do my thing. But hey, I want to say I truly appreciate you guys rocking out with me. I didn't expect over 270 viewers, but on your way out, please hit the like button and hook a brother up. And I'll see you guys most likely Monday on 60 Frames No Lag, another episode where I get the crew and we all gonna talk about the Xbox Series S and who knows what other craziness, right? But anyway, you guys take care. To my peoples in Europe, thank you for staying up this late. I feel for you. But everybody else, hey, you guys have a great night. Truly appreciate you guys rocking out and supporting the channel. And again, please hit the like button. I would truly appreciate it. All right. But anyway, you guys take care. Keep it gaming. This is your boy Porter Rock 77. Your only friend. Where? In these YouTube streets. All right. Take care.